What's going on, guys? Kiger here. Last week I had made a mention of an AFK guild boss that I use because guild boss generally happens when I'm eating dinner. So I just swap classes every once in a while, and I generally do really well. We're going to be watching the full rotation as well as watch out for, and we'll also be going over what to do if you want to do it manually for a higher score. Let's get into it. Alright guys, a couple people on my server have asked not to be in this video. I asked everyone ahead of time. I asked most of the people that will show up on the rankings, and they asked to not be in the video, so that's why I'm covering everyone's damage and names. I apologize for that, but when we do this rotation, I am number one on the damage. If we come over here, come to the beginning. So we're going to do the line on the ground right here comes all the way to the boss. Once that happens, it asks you to use your fairies, and we're going to be doing everything on auto. The only button we're going to be clicking is the swap class button every once in a while when we feel is appropriate. And then I'm going to show you how to do this as the AFK style. Then we'll go into what to do if you want to do more damage on this rotation. This is a 49 second clip, and that's because it'll be from it hitting the boss till the next time it hits the boss, showing you everything you should be doing so you know what to do every rotation, which should be about the same. So as it comes, we're waiting for it to hit the boss. I am using 2 holy 2 water because this is water elemental today, and then once it hits, I swap classes. I let my 2 water fairies land, let my rotation happen, and then swap back to my main. And that's generally what I'm doing. And I'm also watching the cooldown of my 2 water fairies, because if you want to maximize a little bit more, if you do it exactly when they come off of cooldown, you can get a second round of your skills, as well as a second round of the fairy damage, which is extra, as you see right here. I have it on autoed. You will see if you go back to my class videos, I go over what to do for PvP, PvE, and that's what I'm doing here. So the priest is doing the buff, cold fire bird, thunder god, tenacity ball, and then I'm waiting the 2 seconds for another cold fire bird, swap back to my dragon fighter to do a bunch of extra. Now, what you should do if you're trying to do the most amount of damage, if you want to do it manually, you can still do it with these 2 classes, but what you would primarily be doing is having the same team like I have right here, 2 holy, specifically Gypsophilia and Twin Lotus. Both of these, Twin Lotus gives you more PvE damage for a duration. Gypsophilia gives you stacks, which also does a big damage to the boss, as well as gives you cooldown and all these other buffs. Both of these are the primary PvE holy fairies, and then you have the 2 water on the other side. Doesn't really matter what your other 2 are, as I'll explain once this hits. So once it hits, bam, so as soon as you see that animation that it's about to go into, you swap to a team that has 4 water fairies. And what happens here is it's 400% damage on water weakness, because that's the weakness of today. So during this duration, it's 4 times weakness. And you also want 2 of your fairies to be mantra. Every single team, all 3 teams, you want 2 of them to be mantra, and whatever other one that you have the most of. I like to go for slaughter because it will do the most damage by the end of this. So once we get to 60%, then every time we swap, we'll be getting a slaughter, 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 which is more, in my opinion, than waiting for the fierce attack proc and having to have a disproportionately high attack to make it be enough. Now, as we go into it, now on paper, if you do the swaps very on point, fierce attack will be higher than slaughter. But slaughter takes one thing off your mind for like a 5, maybe 8% damage loss, which I'm totally fine with, even when I'm trying to push on these events. Whatever you take off of your mental stack makes you able to perform better on these other aspects. So then once you do 1, 2, drop the other 2 fairies 1, 2, then you'll be about here as far as the time frame. You want to click both the fairies, let them hit, or at least do the summon animation so that they go through, swap to your other class 1, 2, and then once those second round hits, you swap to another team of 4 water fairies. Now you'll ask the question, well, there aren't 8 water fairies. That's true, but you can also use an SR water fairy, in this case Iris even, right? Either of the 2 that you like. In some cases there are better options, like in fire you would want Olander because that one does damage, whereas the other one heals, so you want Olander to be the one you use for that swap. But here you're doing the 4x damage, and then once you do those 4 drops, you can then swap back to your main team, because we'll be ending this damage range, and then going back to what I talked about before with our main team, 2 holy, 2 water. So then we'll be doing our third team 1, 2, swap 1, 2, and then it'll be ending right about here, right on the line. And if you do it properly, you'll do it a little bit quicker. And then you want to swap back to this team, 2 holy, 2 water. And then when the 2 water on your bench are ready, swap back. And then cast those 2, swap back to your holy. And then they'll be ready to go. See, just what we're doing right here. And then they'll be ready to go by the time it hits the boss again to do that same rotation. And this is how you do AFK style. If you just want to click, the only button you want to touch is swap every once in a while, as well as if you want to get hot and sweaty, doing the most you can with the most amount of damage. You want to be using mantra on all 3 teams. Till next time, guys.